My name is Damo, and I served 15 years in prison. I went to prison when I was 17.
I am Star. I went to prison when I was 21. I served 10 years in prison.
Like being 17 years old and being sentenced to 15 years, I felt like I was going to die in prison. And just because I've only lived the time that I got to serve, kind of, but like, 2 years left. So I just was like, yeah, my life is over. I never really seen the end of the tunnel. And then, my grandmother died in prison. So I'm just like, this guy's playing for my life. I'm about to die in prison.
I probably was angry because that kind of just led me like my first 5, maybe 6 years of just straight anger. Real quick, I just want to give my friend her flowers because like she said, she could be on her last toothpaste, last soap. She did not call home. And I think like some of the things people would say like on the internet when they were kind of trying to come at us like, oh well, you didn't have this or you didn't have that. But let me tell you something, this lady is one of the biggest bosses that you are sitting next to.
Okay.
You need to hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like she is stumping on stuff. So it's just like, I am just so proud of her because it's just like, that did not detour her from becoming the woman that she always knew that she could be.
Very, very special edition of the Stab Lab Network. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody from the beginning viewers to nobody who was watching to only my mama was watching. But this is my 100th episode. I got to give it up for me. You know what I'm saying? For putting in hard work, from grinding, from putting in years of not wanting to do it. Sometimes in life, you have to continue to keep doing what you love. And it's called a craft for a reason. Sometimes you don't want to do it. Some days you got to do it when you don't feel like it. And I am very, very proud of myself for doing 100 episodes, meeting 100 great people. The audience has been amazing from pushing me to continue to keep doing this. We need more positive people in this world. And I'm just here to shed good light on people. And I love y'all. I really appreciate it. And also, I do want to say happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful, amazing, wonderful women out there who are either carrying babies, taking care of babies, taking care of adults, whatever it is. I want to shout out all the wonderful women for just being amazing and doing the best that y'all can do. Because I know sometimes it get tough. Sometimes, you want to throw in the towel. I'm a father, so I can understand. I can't relate, but I can understand. So I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful women out there. But today we have an amazing episode. I'm very, very, very thankful to be in the vicinity of these women. These two women here has fought adversity and doing something really big for the community right now. We have two women who's fought through the system and came out on top. Right now, they have a show about to air out in a few months. I'm not going to give y'all too much of detail. Let y'all, hear their story and, what's going on. But let's give it up for the Felony Girls that's in the building today. How y'all doing? Y'all all right?
Yeah, we good. How
Okay.
are you?
Well, I hope that intro was good. I hope that, I broke it down as best as possible as I could. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into it, make sure you stop, subscribe, and like to the Stab Lab Network. You can follow me on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all over the world, all over the country. And before we get into it, we're going to go ahead and let these ladies explain exactly who they are, what they got going on, and, where they can follow y'all. You can go ahead first, Damo.
Okay, so my name is Damo, and I served 15 years in prison. I went to prison when I was 17, and I came home at the age of 32. At the time when I first went to prison, I had a 3-month-old son, and he was 15 years old when I came home. You can follow me on IG at Dominica Charday, and you can also follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Dominica Charday.
Okay.
All right, and I am Star. I went to prison when I was 21. I served 10 years in prison, and I came home when I was 32. And you can follow me on Starstruck_17. My Facebook is Star Austin, and you can follow the Felony Girls on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay. Well, shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for spending time with me at the Stab Lab Network. It means a lot to me, especially on my 100th episode. So this is going to be very, very special to not only me, but y'all as well. So I hope that we can share y'all story and push the Felony Girls as best as I can, okay? But before we get into it, we're going to do some hot takes. You ain't got to think too hard. They're just going to be like pop-up questions. I just want you to give me like one little answer, okay? Is the prison system actually designed to rehabilitate people or just punish them? I'm going to start with you, Damo.
So I think that in my experience that in MDLC, it was designed to really be like a punishment. I think that people took the initiative to rehabilitate themselves, and that's what made us that's what made us like come out rehabilitated. But I think that the system within itself has not designed enough great programs or are not giving the women tools. And I think that things are changing, since I have left, with different things like Vogue Village and just different things that the ladies I talk to still say, that the ladies I talk to tell me that things are happening in the facility. But when I was there, I think it was more so self-initiated things that helped me. Like I was creating programs for us and, working with the staff members to help create different things to better the women within the facility. So I think they was just hot warehousing people.
I never heard of it like that. You broke it down really, really well. I like how you did that. What about you, Star?
I totally agree with her. I definitely think that it is punishment for people. And like she stated, you just have to come home and rehabilitate yourself. Like such as me, when I was in there, I was wild. So I was fighting a lot. And yeah, so I wanted to rehabilitate myself. Of course, when I came home, I just didn't want the same life. And plus, I I'm older now, so mature, wiser. So I just chose to go that route. But as far as when you go to prison, like they're not helping you rehabilitate yourself. It's definitely like a structured punishment.
Okay. All right.
Can I just add that, people got to be mindful that these people that's incarcerated are coming home one day. So this might be your neighbor, this might be your brother's neighbor. So you want to pour into individuals that's incarcerated that have, that's coming home, because you don't know, you want them to be rehabilitated in your community.
Right. You don't want them coming out with just a sense of being lost or being in their old self. You know what I'm saying?
Coming out the same person, because that's where the recidivism rate is really high, because you got people coming out the same people that they were when they went in. So you're not giving them the tools necessary to even succeed on the outside.
Okay.
So now they go back to the life that they are familiar with. So that's a life of crime, a life of drugs, a life of poverty, and they don't have any tools to even become better people, because we're not pouring into them while they're inside. And so I don't want to jump ahead and tell you about one of my programs or our programs, but one of the programs is under us is the SLAP program. She has the next chapter, but I'll let her tell more about that. But SLAP is like designed to go into the facility so we can help people begin to formulate a plan. Their first day is just as important as their last day. Okay. And so we want to get them the materials to start formulating their plan for life after prison, the very first day that they go to prison, or within the first couple months, so that this could be what they're thinking about.
That's huge.
Transitioning their mind, so when they come out, they can already have that, that plan already laid out. And it may change throughout the years because people die, family go away. You might not have the same support system. You might get new friends. You might have different visions, throughout your time being incarcerated. So that's one of the programs that, we help run, and that we would like to see go into the facilities, because it helps people formulate that plan for when they come out, and they just not coming out empty-handed.
Right. What do you see the rate of women changing their lives after they come out with you guys' program?
So our success rate of our program is really high. But one story we followed very closely was Cypress' story. Okay. And so, we had just launched our program, so we was able to follow her story from start to now. And so just to see her housing, vital documents, everything started falling like right in place, for her with the support of us, our programs, and just the knowledge that we had from previously being released from being incarcerated. So we knew what steps we know exactly what steps people have to take to begin to formulate a life for themselves after prison.
Okay. Did you guys have that support system to do what y'all doing now while y'all was behind bars? Or did this make y'all want to do it after y'all got out?
So I had support from my mom. I don't think like as the community, I did not have the support. So my mom, she would help the best way she knew. But just coming home from prison after doing so much time, it's like mentally you really don't understand what it is that I'm going through or what it is that I may go through for the next few years, because now I have to adapt back to society, of course, after
Right.
being gone for 10 years. And so it's kind of like everybody kind of look at you like, did she change? Is she still, you know what I'm saying? So it's like your guard is up and you really don't, you really just don't know. But I didn't have so much of community support as I would like. But what I have noticed since I've been home is it's actually really a lot of resources out here.
Yeah.
You just really have to tap in and know about it, or someone have to share this information with you. I think when we started our programs, I started then understanding like or knowing like, dang, there's a lot of programs out here. There's a lot of resources out here that
Yeah.
I had no idea about. But it took for me to or us to start this our programs that we have to start tapping in to all of these resources. And I was just like, dang, I wish I knew, about some of these things when I first came home. So I think that starting the program was actually a great thing because, now we're able to help women come home and have these resources that, we didn't have or utilize them. And, just try to have a successful life because it's hard out here, So.
Yeah. Most definitely. Especially coming from where y'all came from. And it's almost like impossible to be successful after being behind bars all of those years. They want you to stay behind bars.
Sure.
They want you to minimize your thinking. They want you to not be, on top of the world. They like, okay, they've been behind bars. That's what we gonna keep them. We know they're gonna be back. So let's not rehabilitate them while they in here. Did y'all feel that way while y'all was in there? Like, was it any programs that people would have told y'all about, would have helped y'all when y'all came out?
I think you can answer this because I was more on the wild side.
Okay.
She was more, active with programs.
So I think that if people was engaging more, that they would share the resources and would tell you about programs. But like, I think everybody's support system kind of looks different.
Right.
And if your family members or people outside in society is not engaging in your release, then it's like you don't have no idea. So they have like little programs, like some reentry programs, and then they try to connect you to like the MDOC based programs, but there's a lot of COPs, community based programs out that people are not really getting connected to until after they're home. And then like for me, it was like I had to go out and find these people.
Yeah.
Wasn't nobody chasing me down about like support and release. Like me and my programs, and Star, I know this too, we're showing up at the parole board meetings, the parole meetings within the parole facilities. So we are letting them know like we do have resources. And when I go, I know it's a lot of people. Kalamazoo is resource rich. So it's like a lot of resources at the table for, Kalamazoo parolees. But the other like, housing programs, like all this stuff is really hard to navigate because there's so many barriers to even getting in these programs. And so it's like, is this really for a person that's on parole or is this really for a person? Because it's like you might fit some qualifications, but then you don't fit all the qualifications. So now you can't even take advantage of the resources that they have available, and then you just like stuck out there in the world like no. So some of our programs, the referral process is that the referral end up back in our hands, so we can see what resources they got. Did they get housing? Did they get a car? Did they get a job? And if it's like if they don't, then we back at the drawing board with them to support them, to resource them out to other community programs.
But it make them feel good that y'all are out here doing this. That's what made me reach out to Star, because I seen y'all really active in the community and trying to change lives. It's a difference between people saying, I'm trying to change lives, and people putting in action trying to change lives, especially with the Felony Girls. That really drew me to y'all. And I'm like, wow, they really trying to change people's lives, not only y'all. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's how God blesses people. When you trying to change other people's lives and you take your story and you make it something. You know what I'm saying? You strategic with everything that y'all are doing now. And I just want to give y'all flowers while y'all here and say congratulations with everything that y'all got going on. Y'all got some big stuff going on. I know adversity is really knocking at y'all door. You know, I just want to know, how are y'all really dealing with adversity, with coming out, rehabilitating yourself, starting the Felony Girls, and, you know, so on and so forth.
So I did want to say real quick that the felony part of the Felony Girls stands for female entrepreneurs launching opportunity, never yielding. Because sometimes we get kickback about, oh, they glorifying having a felony, or like, oh, that's not cute, y'all got a felony and y'all trying to. But in all actuality, like, this is a part of who he is. We cannot take that away. We can't go back and erase, you know, time and say, oh, we don't got no felony no more, or we didn't offend, offend society in a way that we caught a felony. So we turned it into something really positive, you know, and we're trying to help other female women become entrepreneurs, become bosses, you know, become the best version of themselves that they would like to see, whatever that looks like for them, with the push and the encouragement of us.
Okay. What about you? What about you, Star? How are you dealing with adversity? You know, trying to build this amazing platform.
At first, when we first started out, so I came home in 2017. And so when I would speak with Dominica and the other founder, Rashida, they were coming home in 2020. We were just, you know, talking about our plan, you know, what we were going to do when they came home. And so as soon as they came home, we just like sprung into action, and it was just like lights, camera, action. So we like, you know, had a lot of other women, of course, with us that was incarcerated. And, you know, we were, you know, starting our show, the same thing we're doing right now. Sadly, it did not happen for us on this first run. And so, you know, we just went back to the drawing board and was like, you know, we didn't call so many people out. It was just like, let's just sit back for a moment. Let us, you know, go out, do the work, and, you know, build these resources, build these connections, and then come back and get our girls. And so, like, in the process of us doing that, everybody felt like we were just for ourselves. So now everyone was just like really upset. And then it just started being like a lot of attacks on the internet. Like, you know, they're just for themselves. They don't care about us. But, you know, it's like we didn't even have time to sit back and try to respond, because we knew what we was building was much more bigger than us, you know? So it was like, okay, we just got to stay focused, because that was the goal, to get us unfocused, you know? And so we just stayed the course, stayed focused. And it's been years of building these connections with networks, with production, you know, and now we're at a point where they like, wow, y'all been working for years.
Yeah.
And now we want to see what it is that you girls have been talking about, what you girls have been, you know, coming down here and just speaking about for all these years. We want to see what you girls have. And so now we're at the point where it's like, yay, they see us now. So now we can come back and get all our girls. And that's like all we really wanted in the beginning. So we just had to go, through a difficult time, you know, but what I'm noticing is, you know, when you're climbing your way to the top, you know, distractions happen, you know, so that something that was meant to destroy us actually built us, you know, to where we're at now. So we're just grateful. We made it, you know, it was a storm, it was rocky. But we're here, you know, we built the connections with the right people. We were able to come back and, you know, get our girls. And we're just like, listen, we want everybody to tell their story. Women really don't tell their stories. You always hear more about men, you know, talking about going to prisons. Women are like really shy about telling their stories. And I noticed like a lot of women after the cast, and they was just like, oh my God, I did a big thing today. I actually told my story, like a lot of them. So they were just like really happy, because that's a burden, you know, that sits on your chest. And what I have noticed since I have been speaking about my life, it just kind of heals the trauma that I went through as a kid, you know. So the more I speak about what I went through as a child and who I am today and things that I endured in prison or just whatever, it's just healing me, and it's just continuously making me grow to be a better person, you know. Yeah. So I'm knowing that like if I'm healing myself, these women that's hurting, you know, and that's just going through so much turmoil, it's like if they speak about their past, maybe they'll start healing some of themselves too, because in order for you to even just start being successful, or even in a great mind space or peace in your heart, you got to start healing,
Yeah.
what's hurting you. And so I think that, just them healing some of themselves just by even coming out speaking and saying things that they did. We had girls breaking down, and it was really a wonderful thing. It was just like, wow,
Yeah.
like they're holding this in, but we just want them to know that, we love y'all. We love them. This is what we've been building for this particular moment. This is bigger than just a TV show.
Yeah, shout out to y'all. And something I heard last week that really stuck with me is you can't heal in the same environment that hurts you.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't know how to get out of that environment because they might be stuck mentally, they might be stuck physically, they might even be stuck spiritually. But it takes women like y'all to kind of pull them out, you know what I'm saying, of that space. So people or women just breaking down, and y'all giving them the platform to share their story. They probably never told that story ever. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like this story in your TV show is going to go big, because you're giving women opportunity to do something that women, they don't have the chance to. Like you said, men always have this opportunity, but you don't see women a lot doing this for other women. So, but before we get into, the deep part of it, I just want to give both of y'all the floor. Who were you before, you got incarcerated? You said you got incarcerated at 15?
At 17.
17. Okay. Who were you leading up? You don't have to deep dive into it, like say the case and all of that, but who were you exactly leading up to the incarceration?
I mean, I was a kid. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was a kid who was forced to I was like forced off the porch. A lot of people they say they jump off the porch, but it's like when you don't have no choice, you forced off the porch, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't just want to just jump out and be like, oh, let me go be grown. It was just like, I really didn't have no choice. I was raised by my grandmother, and she did the best that she could. It was a point in time where she just kind of got like tired. And it was like, we just, ended up in the streets, living different places, and just trying to survive. It was just like, as at that moment, I realized, like, I got to figure out this life stuff for myself. Like,
Yeah.
my mom was struggling, with her addiction. And then my father, I mean, he was around, but we just did not have the relationship that I would have liked to have with him. And so it was just, point in times where I felt like it was just me. So I started dating, I started dealing, I started stealing, I started trying to figure it out,
Living life.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so I like basically I was a kid, so I didn't have a lot of stuff going on, but just really just trying to survive in the
Okay.
streets.
So the first time that you went in, or it was one time and then you did the whole
Yeah,
time?
so I
Okay.
went in at 17, and that was the first time I ever had been in trouble. I mean, I had like got in trouble for like fighting, but I was a kid, so wasn't nobody like pressing charges, or
Yeah.
like the police didn't pull it up to the hood like, oh, y'all out here fighting again. But it was like nothing like so serious to where like I got arrested. Like I had never been arrested. So this was my first offense.
And they gave you that much time on the first offense? No type of HIDA or nothing?
No, somebody actually, unfortunately, somebody was murdered in my case.
Okay.
And so, that's a life offense. And I took a plea to conspiracy to armed robbery.
Okay.
So we had conspiracy to armed robbery, first degree felony murder, felony firearm, discharging firearm inside of building. They just tack on all these charges.
Yeah.
But I ended up with the conspiracy charge, and I got 15 years for that.
Okay. And start for you, I'm gonna give you the floor. How did you feel walking into incarceration? Was that your first time as well?
Yes.
Okay. And kind of break down who you were, and kind of led up to that day of incarceration.
I think going into incarceration, I probably was angry, because that kind of just led me like my first 5, maybe 6 years of just straight anger. My mom, she was battling her addiction as well when I was younger. And then, she got herself clean. But then it was like I still had so much anger in me. So that goes back to the trauma, as a child, and you just don't forget, even though she was, just trying to make everything right for us. And so I still kept that and held that and harbored like that bitterness in me which of course led me to prison. So then walking into prison, it was just like, okay, well, nothing is going to change. I feel how I feel, and I'm going to show them how I feel. And so when my mom would come visit me, she would be crying because I was always in segregation, and she would see me behind the glass, and she'll be like, what's wrong? And she was just always continuously like apologize. Even still to this day, my mom still apologized. Like I said, me speaking about my past, I'm like healing my trauma. I don't think trauma will ever go away. It's still hidden somewhere in there, but I just know how to handle it better.
Yeah.
And so, she just always apologized. And I don't know, I guess it just took growth. It just took me, just growing up in prison to just, eventually end up just saying, I'm just over this, over this life. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being in segregation, just tired of the same thing. It's just been a long time. It did make my bit go by a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I looked up like, dang, it's year 5. I said, I'm still here. But, you know what I'm saying? It was rough. It was rough. I was just full of anger, malice, rage. My father was definitely around. He did absolutely everything for me. It was just like no reason to me why it's just like, okay, why is she acting out? But, like as I got older, I'm just like, I had to be feeling the absence of my mother, because I'm just like, dang, I'm like really angry, So, yeah, that's how I walked in there.
I appreciate y'all for telling that story and going back, because I know sometimes when you go back to the past, it can kind of relive the trauma that y'all have been through. So to be open and honest about that, how y'all started, it can bring some old memories back. So I appreciate y'all for even, telling me that story. So when the sentence came down of, what you had, how did you feel? Like, what was going through your mind at that time?
So, like being 17 years old and being sentenced to 15 years, I felt like I was going to die in prison. And just because I've only lived the time that I got to serve, kind of, but like less, 2 years less. Yeah. So I just was like, yeah, my life is over. I never really seen the end of the tunnel. And then, my grandmother died in prison. So I'm just like, this guy's playing for my life. I'm about to die in prison. And so I was like, I didn't know what to expect going into prison. I was hurt, obviously. I'm like, dang, I did the same thing that my mom did to me, that her mom did to her, to my son. Because it's like I'm leaving my son out here to figure out life, or giving him to somebody else. Fortunately, his dad was there, but it's just like I'm his mom. Yeah. So I just had a lot of emotions going into my sentence. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew the moment I got sentenced, I knew like I wanted to be a different person. Like I'm just like, I don't know what this 15 years about to look like. I didn't even know if I was gonna make it out, but I just was like, I just want to be a different person. Like I want to emerge a better person. I didn't even realize I was going to emerge as a woman at that time, because I'm just like a kid. Like it just, yeah, people don't like when they say like your brain does not fully develop. It does not fully develop until for a while.
Yeah.
Into your 20s. Like I think it's like 25 or something like that. So yeah. It's like my mind was like I was that of a kid, and I had just tried so much like growing up. Like I said, I was on my own to be an adult, but really I'm a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like I really didn't even understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I like even through the whole court process, like I didn't understand the magnitude of the consequences of our actions, and so it was just like I was confused. I was all type of stuff.
Yeah. When did it hit y'all? When y'all was like, was it at the day of sentencing, or was it maybe like the third or fourth year? You like, oh shit, I'm really in prison. Like I'm really doing some real time. Like 10 years ain't no, 2 months. Like that's some real time. You know what I'm saying? For y'all to do that, I can't do a week. I think I did the most I did was maybe like 5 days. And I was going crazy, like losing my mind. So y'all both met in where was it that y'all met each other?
We met at this place called the Valley, Huron Valley, the facility. Yes. We had a mutual friend, and they was like telling Star, like, like I know somebody I want you to meet, but I was already at the Valley, and Starling was at Scott's.
Okay.
And so she just came on a ride in one day, and she was like, do y'all know Dominica? And so I'm like, was already expecting her. I just didn't know when, because you never know when ride-ins come out. But when she came in on a ride-in, I came out and I seen her and we just been like, I'm like, damn, I ain't never met nobody who kind of like act like me and like, you know, like she's crazy. Just like, I mean, we could talk about like anything and like Star is not my best friend. She's one of my best friends, but she has a best friend, and I have a best friend. But it's just like we have a best.
Oh, I didn't know that you had a best friend.
Oh, you know I have a best
It's
friend.
all coming out.
She knows that. Oh my gosh, she knows I have a best friend that's been my friend since elementary school. But Star is one of my best friends, and it's like, you know, I could talk to Star about anything, like from sex to love language, my love life, to you know, just struggles that I'm going through day to day. Like, friend, I'm just not really feeling it today. Like I'm just still in the bed at 3:00, and you know, I can explain that to, you know, Star, and I do have other support systems, but I'm just saying that, you know, about her because we're right here right now. But you know, it's just like I could talk to her about anything. But I knew this the moment I met her, and I'm just like, you know, like this me. Like
when you know, you know.
Yeah.
When you know, you know. So what was going through your mind, Star, at sentencing? Like, oh my God, I'm about to do all this time.
When he said that I was sentenced to 108 months, I was like, how much time?
Why do everybody do that? Like, you got 36 months. Like, what is that?
Yeah,
like,
what is that? And then the lawyer was like, 9 years. And I'm like, 9? It's just like, I just went blank because I'm just like, this is crazy that these people just sentenced me to 9 years. So I end up doing an extra year because I got a flop because of my behavior. Remember I told you, like, you know, throughout. But that's how I end up doing extra year. But I was actually sentenced 9 to 20 years in prison. So it was like, when he said 108 months, you know, to me, I'm just like, oh, that ain't a lot, you know, like, whatever. He like 9 years, shh. And I'm like, and it's just like, I just went blank. It was crazy. And then I just remember going through the tunnel, and I'll just never forget this. The guard, we always, like, everybody that got sentenced that day, I think I was the only person that got hit that hard. We was going through the tunnel, and the guard said, hey, put your head up, ma'am. And he said, it's going to be okay. He said, it's just like the army. You just go in there and you get out of there. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Dang, that was
it was
deep.
just like that, just that moment. And I just remember just calling my dad. I didn't even call my mom. I just called my dad because that was my everything. And I was just like, Pop, I'm going to prison and I don't come home until 2016. And it's 2007. And I just hung up the phone. And that was it. It was just terrible.
Man.
But I do want to add this. It was definitely a chin up, chest out moment because it's like, it ain't nothing you can do. Like, I can't take off running. I can't escape this. Like, you know, so it's just like, you definitely got to pull your panties up, your big girl drawers up, strap up. Like, it is what it is.
And then when I'm getting to prison, that's crazy because I'm just like, well, how much time you do? And they like, oh, I've been here 30 years. I'm just like,
like it's regular.
Oh, we know your grandma. Your grandma was here in the 90s and the 80s. And I'm just like, how long you been here? Because this is the 2000s. This is the millennium. Like, and so, like she said, you come across like some phenomenal women. And I would like to add, like, some of the lifers, like, those are like some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Like, I met Cypress like within my first like month in prison, and it's like we had been locked in my whole time. But through my journey, I met different people, and I came. You know, it's like in prison, it's like you kind of become you get close to some people, and then you just kind of like, all right, we ain't cool no more. Like, you know, it's just like it's like conditional, like, or it's like temporary or circumstantial relationships. But it's like, you know, like I said with like Cypress and some of the other women, like Cypress, like she always like pushed me to be my like the best version. Like, she made me realize I was smart, you know, she made me realize I was beautiful. She like, because these are things that, you know, like, have you ever heard like internalized messages? Like, when I was like growing up, they like, oh, you just like your mama. Well, my mama fought. She was in the street. She was like, you know, not saying she did all bad things, but it was just like, these are the messages that they kept projecting on me. So just to get to prison and meet some of these women, like, they encouraging you to go to college, but these is women that's like never supposed to get out. They doing life. They don't have no hidden motives to pushing the women inside the facilities to be better people. Like, they could care less, really. They, you know what I'm saying? They like, I'm doing life, so why do I care who gets out and who's a better person?
They were the best role models. It's crazy.
They was the best role models in there.
And they
like,
got life.
That's crazy. It's almost like, are they there for a reason? You know what I'm saying? Like, it get kind of deep on thinking that. Like, so how did y'all protect y'all mental inside of there?
Oh, I prayed. I went to church, I prayed, and I stayed connected to God, because it's no way to really explain like how I did 15 years. Like, people like, how you do it? Like,
because I'm astounded. Like, That's it.
Like it's no and or buts behind it. It's just like God. Like he kept me. Like, and then just to be like, when I think about some of the women we did do time with, who I seen come in with a sound mind, they was like beautiful women. They just had a lot going for themselves, and then they just diminished over time, whether it was they was taking, the psychotropic drugs that they was giving them, to keep them mentally stable, they call it, or they just let the time, like, because it's like people tell you, like, don't let the time do you, do the time. They let the time do them. And so it's just like sad to see like people who came in like fully functioning, sound-minded individuals, and then by the time we got to the 8th year or 6th year or 10th year, they wasn't even the same person. They was doing the shuffle, the med lines. They was, like this vibrant young lady that I met when I first came to prison, or she met me when she came to prison, is not the same person. It's just like, God. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful that in doing 15 years that God kept my mind, that I'm clothed in my right mind. After 15 years, I'm sitting up here having a conversation with you, and I'm able to articulate myself. Yeah. I'm able to talk. I'm able to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, people don't like, that just is just like, God.
That's
I
it.
can't explain it.
That is all. Can you relate to that, Star, of how you know?
So I think for me, it was a lot of people praying for me.
So it was their prayers, not yours.
It was their prayers, baby. They was praying for me. But because like I said, I was just angry, so I wasn't like really just thinking about a religion, just thinking about myself, my family. But I do know that my mom, she is a very God-fearing woman, and every time she would come, she would, always pray for me. Just always talk very spiritual. My father, he was a very God-fearing man. So I think that just that love and support from them, and just keeping me in their prayers, eventually, I did get it together. And, I found God, and I start really just healing myself and just trying to be a better woman.
Okay. So how do it feel to find purpose inside of a place like that, especially coming out healed? Would you say that y'all came out healed or came out better?
So.
You don't think so?
No, I think I came out, because it's like you think you're peeling back those layers on that onion to the trauma that exists in you, but it's like then you come home and you reface that trauma. So it's like I'm continuously healing. I'm still healing. Like, being home after 6 years, I know started being home longer, but it's like I'm still healing and still hurting by some things. And I just think it's going to be like, maybe like a endless process. It's just about how you cope with it.
Yeah.
So I think that I've learned coping mechanisms that help me to deal with the trauma and not respond to different things like I may have or used to respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you healed, Star?
Well, no, I definitely don't feel like I'm healed. Like she said, I just feel like it's just endless, for sure. I just feel like I just know how to cope with just any trauma I've been through, because I still sometimes get up like, I cannot believe I did 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
Because like we're still, like now we're getting to an age. So, like when we first came home, we have to adjust. It takes time, and we're still adjusting, really, but it just takes time. And so then it's just like, now when you get just a little bit more adjusted, now you just got to work. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like things that could have been maybe done in your 20s, 30s, you know what I'm saying? Now we pushing 40. You get what I'm saying? So It's just like, dang, like when is it, when are we done? You just kind of just want to, it's just like we don't have time to relax. Like we can't just, you know what I'm saying? Like our 20s was just spent in prison, so it's just like I said, some days I wake up like, before my future was like, oh, I want to have 5 kids, and now it's just like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just at an age where it's just like 1 or 2 is fine, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just thinking of like goals that I did have for myself, at one point I was going to be a nurse, so sometimes I just think about those things like, dang, like how would my life have been if, I would have been a nurse, or, if I would have, had 5 kids, or just whatever it is that my plan was, but it just be morning. Sometimes I get up like, dang, like I just can't rest. It's just, you just got to keep pushing. You just don't even have time to, just rest and just be a kid,
Do you feel like y'all reliving the 20s now?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, like, it's one thing about time is that you can't get it back, and
Right.
it waits for no one.
Yeah.
And so for us to come out, like for me, I would be embarrassed if I came out 32. Now I'm 38, trying to live like I'm 20. I got a 21-year-old, so it's like I can't even like. I go out, I have fun, I enjoy myself, but I'm an adult and I'm a woman, and I have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So it's like I might do silly stuff in my private space,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in real life, you just absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
just
gonna-
like workaholics.
yeah, we just like grown.
Yeah.
Like we not.
That's
go,
good though, because a lot of people be trying to relive they self.
Yeah.
Like I know a guy, I ain't gonna say his name, y'all, but he still living like he 21. I'll be like, bro, like you 40. You know what I'm saying? But he was incarcerated for so long, he trying to catch up with himself.
Well, I heard the difference between men and women is that men feel like they missed out on so much that they gonna catch up. Like they gonna figure, like they gonna go back. And like women, they just like, no, I gotta really get to it. And there's some men I see that come and they push forward like from that moment forward. But I do see a lot of men, because I run into a lot of incarcerated people, that just feel like, oh, it's time to have fun. It's time to turn up. Like I missed out on this. You ain't missed out on nothing that God didn't have for you. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever God had for you, like I enjoy life so much now. It's like I can't even say I really missed out on something. Like, I missed out on seeing my son being physically present while my son was growing up. But it was like I still see my son grow up. So like, did I really miss out on that? Like I missed out on some moments.
Yeah.
But it's like when I think that when the Bible says that God will restore the things that was taken from you, that's true because I don't feel an empty space. Yeah. Like I feel like I know it in my mind, like, dang, I missed 15 years of my son's life being physically present. But I also know that I was being the best parent that I could be for my current circumstances. So it was just like, I gave it my all, from where I was at.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't really feel like I missed out on, much as far as that. I know I missed a lot of my life. I know people like, dang, she missed her whole 20s and some of her 30s. But it's just like when you have peace with, and you have that strong connection and relationship to God, it's like, it ain't really nothing that can, like it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant. Like God probably saved my life from dying. He probably saved me from a car accident. He probably saved me from getting shot and killed. Like so many people died on the street I grew up with, or just different things. Like I run to the rescues. My folks, they call me like, oh, this going on, this I'm sliding. You know what I'm saying? So what if I would have slid to the wrong scene and something would have happened to me or something? I just feel like God had me where he needed me to be at that moment. In 15 years, when I look back, it ain't no time.
Yeah.
But during it, it's a lot of time, and a lot of things have changed. Society, have like family members, generations after generations have grew up. Technology have evolved. But at the same time, it's just like, I really probably didn't miss out on much because the same people standing on the same corner doing the same SHIT that they was doing before I left. And it's like, people still stuck in time.
Yeah. you really, like you said, you were saved. You didn't miss the time because God will restore. He will restore you and give you more and better than what you left with. So to have discernment in all of that shows how strong y'all are as women, because that prison stuff will break people down. Like you said, women or men come in, they regular people. And then in the third or fourth year, it breaks them down. You be like, wow, I can't believe this happened to them. So for me to be still strong and still talking and still walking and maneuvering and doing all of this stuff, it's only from God. Like we got to give God his credit. I don't know what y'all believe in, but God gets the credit over here.
And then y'all done heard probably of people be like, man, he the same as he was 15. Like, what
for sure.
Like you be looking like that's, oh boy, the same as he was when he went in prison. You hear those type of stories and you really not really realizing that people recognize you ain't changed.
Yeah.
People recognize you're not, you the same 15-year-old person that you were 17, 18, whatever age you was when you left. You still, like, I think emotionally I got stagnated. That's the only, like, I guess, area in my life I can say I really didn't grow emotionally because I'm still like so sensitive, like like things hurt my feelings or like I can easily like cry, but I can get on that. Don't get me wrong, I ain't no punk now. Right. But it's just like I feel like that's what prison did to me. It stagnated me emotionally from growing. I feel like in my mind I've grown, I've matured, but it's like my emotions didn't get a chance to evolve properly because I was pushed in such a hard place. Yeah. It was like I end up getting stuck there emotionally. not mentally, not physically, but it's just like emotionally. And your emotions develop with experience.
Yeah.
It develops with time. And so it's just like, for me, it was just like, I got stuck there in certain areas.
Okay. So were y'all kind of scared coming out, after doing 10 and 15 years? You weren't scared, like just scared of society and what society was bringing to the world now. So much can change in a year. I
was just scared of failure. Like, damn, what am I gonna be when I get home? Like,
for sure.
What am I gonna have? I don't got nothing.
Say that I used to always watch Love and Hip Hop, right? And I used to like, I'm gonna be on TV. I'm gonna be on TV. Like, I always like had that mindset. Because I just like loved them, and
she always talked. I didn't see that for myself. I gotta get back to real life.
But
shit.
like I didn't know like it would be this. You get what I'm saying? But it's just like I've always spoke that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, her name is Star. She really always act like she was a star. Like when she showed up, her lips was always popping. The finest stuff. So she always been like the star.
Yeah. So I always was just like I'm going to be on TV, but just did not know for what. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So what were some of the biggest misconceptions that people had while y'all were in there? Like, it's a crazy world in there. Like, what are some of the things that not people...
You saying like people on the inside or people on the outside?
People on the outside, because from the outside looking in, I would say that shit look crazy in there. So what are some misconceptions that people have that you think that's on the outside about people that's on the inside? Like, women are losing their mind in there.
Well, I know one day I called my dad and he was like, "Baby, is everything okay? Is they doing anything to you?"
Because we don't know.
Watching. What is not going on?
Probably Orange is the New Black, and I just hate the depiction of that show because it's not realistic. Like, but
I think men in prison are like really hard because like my fiance, he's always speaking about like how people would get stabbed up, and I'm just like, they would never end. Like,
really? That's what I would think. That's what TV portraying.
I think that the hardest time for my family was like when I went to the hole, like the couple times I went to the hole, because they don't like, you just like, I call my son a lot. Like, I done bought cell phones from prison. I done put money on phones from prison. Cypress, and we didn't say, Cypress, this is what the Christmas list look like. What we doing?
Yeah.
We making this stuff happen from inside, right? And so I think that like, if I just like go to SEG or go to the hole, like I got this, like they already know the routine. Like if you go to the hole, I got to call your people and let them know, because they get so scared. They don't know if you didn't die. They don't know if somebody stabbed. You don't know if you at the hospital, because the prison is not going to call your family like she in the hole or he in the hole. Like, so I think that for me, it was just like, they just was like scared, like if I didn't call for some time, like something happened to me or something. And there's been times where, just being transparent and real, I ain't had the money to call. So I had to use one of my friends' phones, or, what I'm saying? Because it's like, I never wanted to be the person that had to call home and be like, oh, can y'all send me I need to shop $100 every shop, or I got to have the finest stuff in prison. Because it's like, this not their problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to put no further burden on my family than I got to, but it's like my family inside understood more of what I was going through and what I needed than what my family. I would never tell my family some of the, well, I could tell them now, but during my time incarcerated, I was like, it's some of this stuff that's going on here. I couldn't tell my family. I couldn't tell my family that I only had one squirt of toothpaste left, or I only had one bar of soap left. Like, I'm using my last bar of soap right now. Like, I just didn't want to have my family worried. Like, I'm going to worry about it, and I'm going to go to my prison family or whatever. These are my real family, so I don't want to use the word prison family, but, or it's just like, with me, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I'm going to hustle.
Let me just intercept real quick. I just want to give my friend her flowers because, like she said, she could be on her last toothpaste, last soap. She did not call home. And I think like some of the things people would say like on the internet when, they were kind of trying to come at us like, oh, well, you didn't have this or you didn't have that. But let me tell you something. This lady is one of the biggest bosses that you are sitting next to.
Okay.
You need to hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, she is stumping on stuff. So it's just like, I am just so proud of her, because it's just like, you know, that did not detour her from becoming the woman that she always knew that she could be, you know. And I'm just thinking about like how she ran programs in prison, you know, started initiatives, and she came home and did that same exact thing, built a nonprofit, one of the biggest nonprofits, you know, got initiatives, and she's doing this, you know what I'm saying? And she's getting to it, you know. So it's just like everybody talk about her past. Everybody didn't have in prison, but what do we have now?
Facts.
So I just wanted to just give her flowers because she is really like doing her thing. And I did have support, you know, like from my family, and they did send me. So I'm just admired by her that like she didn't let that like turn her bitter, you know, like she came home, she still loved her family equally. Like she said, she didn't call and harass them. I need this or I need that. You know, it's just like, I understand y'all got bills. Y'all now we're home. We understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, woo, everything just costs.
Yeah.
So just seeing how she just still love her family the same. Like if she got it, she gonna take care of everybody, you know. So I just wanted to just give you your flowers on this platform because I don't think too many people really give her flowers, but she's literally like that in real life.
Well, we giving you your flowers down
And
here.
vice versa.
Shout out to you. I love that about y'all, man. Y'all are so close, especially now. Like from what I see, I don't see women being this close. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of haters and all, however you want to call it, but you don't see jealousy. Like it's mind blowing to how people are maneuvering and, you know, treating each other.
And then in this day and age, it's unconventional to be a girl's girl. But we quite naturally are girls. Like, I am so social. I get along with everybody until I don't get along with you. Like, and Star is the same way. Sometimes it's been turned into Star like, girl, you is so mean. And I'm just like, we can't trust everybody. You know,
for sure.
We've been girls.
You need that type of person, though. I mean, that friend.
But it's like, she understands that. But it's like, you know, even with me, like, I want to be cool with everybody. But it's just like you said, people come with ulterior motives. You know, people come with so much hate, jealousy, and envy, and then they come to kill, steal, and destroy.
Right.
So it's like sometimes we gotta keep those people away. But you know, Star, no, she be like, girl, you talk to everybody, and then if I'm not talking to them, she like, friend, what happened? Because like you is like, I'll be like, girl, let me.
You need that friend,
I ain't
right?
feeling them. I feel something. Something in the
And 9
spirit,
times out of 10,
right?
they be right though, like your mama.
Yeah.
So let's get
And vice versa. Like, if she ain't feeling nobody, I gotta step back and figure it out because I know. Like, she knows me, I know her. So if I know she's just not the type of person, like, I'm just not feeling that person. Like, I just don't like him. Like, that's not her.
Has it been a time where you was like, girl, like, I don't think that's...
Times.
Yeah. That's good.
I don't like none of them.
You don't like... I can tell you that, friend. Let's get a little bit to Felony Girls, though. Did you pitch that to B.E.T. or how did that come about?
So actually, our guardian angel over there, Cypress Lockett.
Shout out, yeah.
We actually went viral. Dominica, we went and picked Cypress up. Cypress did have a life sentence, and
shout out to her.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she had a life sentence, and they actually granted her a parole. They just like, it's time to get some people up out of prison. And find time to start with Cypress. And so we were just like so excited, you know, just knowing that like it's a possibility that she may not never, you know, come home. Because even when I first came to prison, the first thing I heard was, you know, like she was like one of the biggest in there, but they
was the biggest. Don't get it twisted.
You better
was the biggest. Is the biggest. Okay.
But the first thing they said was, you know, she has life. You know, that's always carried her. You know, and so like on her name. And so for her to be getting released, we was just like, we got to do it big for Cypress.
And it's
like, we pulling the red carpet out.
I seen it.
We like, we pulling up. And, you know, and so it was like a really wonderful thing. And Dominica posted it on her TikTok and it went viral. And producers actually reached out to Dominica and they said, hey, you know, like, we want to talk to you girls. Like, what is the Felony Girls? And, you know, we want to talk to Cypress. We want to talk to Star. And so that's how that came about. So they kind of interviewed all of us, and they was just like, you know, we're going to grab one story at a time. Well, Cypress really was just like, I don't want to do it right now.
Yeah.
But they was like, you know, we are going to do one story at a time. So they end up doing my story first. But now Paramount has bought B.E.T Plus, so they will not be returning again. So it's kind of like the season closed because Dominica would have been on the next season. But now that Paramount has just bought B.E.T Plus, it's probably no longer going to be Trap Queens. But that's just how basically everything came about. They interviewed all of us. They absolutely loved all of us. And they was like, all right, we're going to start with Star's story first. And then
Nice.
And I want to add, like, I think that a lot of people, that video, like 3, 4, 5 million views, right? And I think a lot of people seen that and was like, dang, they doing that for their friends. So I want people to understand that this moment was like profound. Like this was like no other moment. And it was so special to all of us because, like I said, when I met Cypress, at the age I met her and just doing my whole 15 years with her, in our minds, like in my heart, me and some of Cypress' last words was, this ain't it. Like I'm gonna do everything I can. Like I stayed on the walkway like 2-3 hours before, like I came out before the time, and I stayed out there long enough so I could see her in my last moments in prison before I walked to the control center. But just when I found out that there was a possibility that we could go to the parole board and we advocating for her, on her behalf and stuff. And so when she came home, we both knew that this had to be a big moment, but not to glorify the fact that we bringing somebody home from prison with this royalty, but just, this is our friend who had life in prison. They said she was going to die in prison, and we had some personal moments with her in prison. This is our sister. So it's like to bring like our real sister. Like I love her like I love my blood sisters, and they know that.
Yeah. And then to add, she lost a lot of family members, like in prison. So it's like we're her family, so we're going to really make it special.
And to add, like she took care of a lot of people and looked out for a lot of people on the inside, like beyond us, beyond people that she have real personal friendships with to this day. Like she took care of a lot of people. Like I remember Cypress used to have like day room parties. Like she feeding the whole day room. Like everybody couldn't they couldn't afford to do that, or they wasn't in a position to do that. And here go this individual that's serving life, like she said, lost some family members, don't have no siblings. Like we is the siblings. I am the sister. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, this is a person that deserved this and beyond. So to be on this side receiving her, it's like, this gonna be the biggest moment that they didn't see when the person come home from prison.
Yeah.
And that's just what it turned into, and I didn't never expect it to go like viral. Like we know about the internet stuff, but we not internetish people. Like we don't, like I'm still learning the internet, but
that was a real moment.
Make this moment the best moment for our family and our friend, like it was up. Like it was up and it was stuck.
Yeah. How did it feel for both of y'all walking away from her, knowing that y'all was getting out and she still had life? Like how did it make you feel internally?
Oh, I was hurt. But I knew that Cypress was this type of person that was very selfless, and she wanted that moment for me. Like she like, sis, man, this what you supposed to be doing. Like this for us. Like we all we got. Like, because this is our talks. This all these 15 years.
Yeah.
Like this the moment we waited for. So at no moment in time did she ever want that moment to be a sad moment for anybody that she didn't. I know she didn't see a lot of her friends, family, people that she dealt with, done time with, go home. Over 25 years, you didn't see everybody go home. But for me, I know that she was very happy for me. Like from the day I came back from the parole board, she like, sis, they like, Cypress waiting on you, so I got to run out there to lunch, to tell her what was going on. Like any moments that I've had, whether they were good, bad, happy or sad in prison, Cypress was always there to walk me through that, including, like I said, my release. She was so excited. Like, and from what I was hearing, Cypress thought she wasn't going to be able to see me that morning because they had held up the child line so long because they so dirty. This is what they do. They know who connected to who. So they like, oh, we going to call Cypress unit last. But they didn't know I was going to hang out as long as I could.
Yeah.
Because they wasn't going to release me anyway till after 8:30. So I'm hanging out as long as I could. But, I knew that she was happy for me. But in my heart, I was like, dang, this my family and I got to leave her here. But I'm coming back. We coming back. So whatever we got to do.
And another thing too to add, the Felony brand started right with Felony Hair. And, Cypress was in the inside. And I was just hollering and screaming as I always do. And she was just like, what do you need? I'm going to help you start your business. I don't care how much it costs. Like, what do you need? 20, 30, 40, 50,000, 100,000. And she just made it happen. It didn't matter the number. She just made it happen to me. So I'm just so appreciative. So like she's speaking, she have took care of so many people. Like it was just only right that, she's still here. She's going to be here. She's just like a major part of our brand. And, we just love her.
She is the movement.
For sure. Like
so for all those people who said that, for all those people who said that.
shout out to you, man. I really want to
I ain't gonna start none of your podcast. For all those people who said that.
So how do y'all picture yourself to a world that Googles your name? when before they see who y'all really are? Like, how do you kind of separate, okay, that was who I was, but not who I am?
So I love when you Google me now, because I got some stuff under my belt. So it just don't come up like, if you Google my name, like all my positive stuff come up. You got to dig deep to get
That's
that.
good.
So
people would dig deep.
Yeah, they gonna dig deep. Yeah,
they gotta find some dirt.
Man, it's like, what? I did that when I was 16. I'm 40.
So like I said, I love Google because all like, my book, my nonprofit, some of the stories that I've been in the news for pops up, all the positive stuff before they get to the dirty. And then let's say Google it backwards. Like, what's her MA number? But
about the same with me too.
But what I will say is that when we go to get jobs or when we go to get housing, like we have to put that down. Like we are felon. And so that's one of the things that really bothers me is that I can't proceed with the things that I've done or who I am or what I can pay or what I can afford. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to tell you this, and then you probably just say no and not figure out anything else. And it's just like, damn, that's the thing that I feel like I have a hard time with. Like, even like finding houses that, like, once they find out I got a felony, like I had to write the housing commission. I had to get the mayor involved. I had to get all types of people involved to get my first place. And I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I can afford this place.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I had some programs around that paid my first month rent and security deposit. Like, so it was like, once they gave me that foot, I'm like, oh, I'm about to stay on top of this because I don't want to fail the people that gave me a chance.
Yeah.
Because it was so many people that didn't.
Yeah. So what about you, Star?
About the same with me. Housing was a little hard. I know I paid for so many applications. It was crazy. But, then I just got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to have to tell them, like actually speak to someone. And, I actually spoke to one of the landlords and I said, listen, I'm just going to give you a rundown of my background and who I am today. And that was fresh because I probably was home maybe a year. And I just told her, and she just looked me dead in my face, and she said, "Thank you for your honesty." And, one of the units where I moved in at, it was just like a real quiet unit. It was like a nice, like little suburban area. And she said, "I'm going to give you a chance." And she said, "Please do not mess this up." So that was just like a breakthrough with me. And it's also like even when I got my first, when I got my storefront with Felony Hair, I was telling the landlord my background, and he didn't understand why I was calling the hair Felony Hair. And he was like, "You should call it like Star Bundles." And I'm like, "No, Felony Hair." But I'm sitting in the car. We were sitting in the car, and I was telling him like, this is because I know he finna run this background. And so he ran the background. He called me a couple of days later, and he said, "My dear," he said, "I am glad that you told me your background." He said, "Because had you not told me, I probably would have denied you just by looking." And he said, "But I'm just thinking back how I'm trying to convince you to turn your brand into, Star Bundles or something with Star." He was like, "And all along, you have this story behind why you're calling your hair Felony Hair." And so from that point, he gave me a chance. So I also think, sometimes talking to him directly, helps a lot because I just learned that when I got my apartment. I spoke to her and she gave me a chance and I didn't disappoint her. And so when I was able to get my store, I'm like, let me just talk to him. So I just think that, and jobs definitely was hard because even I was working for my mom. She have a home care agency, and she said, "Hope she don't kill me." She said, "Miss Austin, when your background check come, I'm gonna have to fire you."
Damn, mama.
You're not supposed to be working here. And I'm just like, oh
man.
So that it was really rough, but it was all love though. Everything was good.
Yeah, most definitely.
But part of this movement is breaking those glass ceilings and breaking those boundaries that's set in place to help us continue to be failures.
Yeah.
So like even when telling our story, like and when start telling her story about like how she had to explain, a lot of people don't even want to do that. They scared, like I'm gonna get denied anyway. Like they don't want to, like they don't have that. I guess, that willpower to tell their stories or go beyond that, like advocacy for themselves. Like you got to be an advocate for yourselves because ain't nobody else gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like you got to be able to be like, okay, this is what happened, but this is who I am now. Like I talk so fast that by the time you realize I didn't told you all this stuff, you're like, damn, she got all this other stuff going on because I just want to get it out. Like even it's like reproving yourself, but like once you learn how to own it, once you learn how to articulate it, like you gonna stop. Like any room I go in right now, I'm gonna handle it. Like you know, I'm gonna take control of it because I know that the narrative behind me as a person, my case, you know, felons period is so bad. So I'm taking control of the narrative off the bill.
Yeah.
So you know,
you're passionate about it.
Yeah, and another thing that I learned, like for the casting, speaking to these women, it's kind of like how you said, like coming back to the same environment. A lot of them are stagnated because they are in the same environment.
Yeah.
And so you know, I think that with this platform, we just wanted the world to you know, just not only hear our stories, but just see what it is that we're missing. You know what I'm saying? Like, give us a chance. Even like with like jobs, housing, you know, just give us a chance to prove ourselves. I think the hardest thing for me when I came home, literally one of the hardest things for me is proving that I wasn't the person that I was before I went in. That's like the hard, because you always have that reputation on you. You know, even when people see me, they be like, you know, what's up, little Scrappy? Because before I went to prison, I was fighting. You know, now I'm just a little bit more chilled in my life, where I'm just not so quick to just start fighting. But, you know, of course, that's what they knew me of, you know, so it's just like, let's scrappy. You know, sometimes people try to pull that up out of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just to be like, I told y'all this B was, you know what I'm saying? She's still the same. So I think, like, you know, given, you know, starting this journey with Dominica, with our friend Rashida, and shout out to Rashida. Rashida is one of the other founders. And sadly, you know, she went back to prison and she got 3 years. She actually did 10 years in prison and she went back. But we one thing we want people to know also is we're not perfect. You know, I think that when people look at us, it's just like, oh, they're perfect. So if a mistake is made, it's like, oh, them bitch, they acting like, you know, they were this, they acting like they were that, and really they doing this and really they doing that. Like, we're not proclaiming to be like perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still have flaws, we still make mistakes, but we're still trying to better ourselves every day, you know, and moving forth in our growth. So I just wanted to like kind of put that out there because, you know, like when one of the founders went to prison, it kind of was like hit a little hard, you know, for the brand. It was just like, oh, you know, they already was ready, you know what I'm saying, to get us. So it's just like when that happened, it was like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Now we got a reason to, you know, talk about them or, you know, say this and that, you know, but life is hard, you know, and so sometimes you just kind of dip back into your old lifestyle. And, you know, sometimes you be like, I'm going to do a one hitter quitter. And then it's just one hitter quit too many times. And then boom, you know, so we just want to speak on, like, you know, we're just not perfect. But, you know, we're still growing, and, you know, what we're building, you know, is for the women, and just to let the world hear our stories and things that we have been through and things that we're still going through as women. And, you know, just the help that some of us may need. We also have a Zoom. We have monthly meetings every month, the Felony Girls, and we invite everybody to our monthly meetings. And, you know, all the women on there, and, you know, they're, you know, just expressing like how their week went or how their month been, and, you know, just like how they're still struggling with certain things. And it was just like, you know, when we started that monthly meeting, we was just like, we have to do something bigger, you know, because these women really need this attention. And we just hoping that, you know, the world can just see what it is that we're missing and just grab on and, you know, just help us out. And, you know, hopefully these women can get what it is that they need, the attention, the love, you know, just whatever it is that they need to continue to heal themselves and grow as a woman as well.
Okay. Y'all got a really big platform coming. And are y'all prepared for that?
Woo, it is starting to get overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie.
I seen the cast and I'm like, Lord, have mercy on my soul. Like me, I get overwhelmed. You know,
it is overwhelming now. It is.
So, but we was built for these moments.
For sure.
It is overwhelming. So we got women all over the world now reaching out.
Yeah, we can't get, you know, too overwhelmed and too, like, you know, because we leading the pack right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's the weight is on our shoulders, and just like with anything anybody goes through, it's just like, we gonna figure it out.
Too much is given, much is required. Yeah. So before we get out of here, I just want both of y'all to take this moment to somebody who listening, maybe a woman going through the system who may be feeling like, you know, this, the end is it. You know, I don't see no ending. I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't see no way out. Maybe y'all was there, maybe you wasn't. Is there something that you can leave the audience with, to maybe encourage them to keep going, in the midst of adversity, in the midst of trials and tribulations, in the midst of coming home, like Cypress did when she, got home? She didn't see a way out. I don't know that, but having life, I can't even fathom that right now. And to, have hope still at the end of that tunnel. Is there anything that y'all can leave the audience with, to stay strong in this moment?
So what I would say is that there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
When you look at your own circumstances, know that there's somebody's circumstances that's probably a little tougher than yours or a little worse than yours. When I was inside, right, I had some friends. I done 15 years, so a lot of people thought I was doing life because they're like, she just been here so long. People then came back 3 or 4 times. They always see me there. I always was in the programs, and I used to tell the ladies, live in faith each day. Like continue to live in faith every day, because no matter what, always have hope for the future. Mm-hmm. And so if I could leave anybody with anything, it's just know your value, know your worth, know that you're worthy, and know that you're capable.
Yeah. Okay.
And then with me, I think that a lot of people come home and they have like all these big plans. They're really excited. I think that they need to stick to the plan. I think that a lot of people give up within maybe the first 6 months. I'm going to say this. When we started this, when Dominica and Rashida came home, this was in 2020. And this is 2026. We never gave up. Even though everything was a failed mission from 2020 up until just now. We just was very determined. And it takes time. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of courage. And let me say, we did not have all the support in the world with this brand. You know what I'm saying? But even me just like, I'm just ready to just give up. This is really a lot.
Oh, I tapped out sometime. I'm like,
yeah, she definitely tapped out. I did not like her. Trust me. I'm like,
she like, friend, you're not gonna come to the. I'm like, girl, I'm just. It's just. You just like, I'm just gonna move on.
But a lot
of
people definitely like,
that.
That's why I'm saying that to say, like, people do get discouraged with their goals and their dreams. But I just knew the bigger vision, and I'm just like, if we could just get the right people, like it's like, this is like my baby. You know what I'm saying? Like our baby, and I'm just like, I cannot give up on something that I just worked so hard for. I'm just like, if they see the bigger picture, this is gonna blow. So now I'm just sitting back like,
finally,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm just like really happy, and just happy that we're able just to put so many people in position to be able to tell the world their story, and to just start being more in a comfortable state. So I think one thing I would tell people is, when you're leaving prison, or even if you're not in prison, just stick to the plan. You're going to have bad days. Every day is not going to be good, but just wake up and just try to just keep pushing for the next day, and one day it's going to happen. Keep your heart pure, keep going, try to stay at peace, and it's going to happen for you.
Man, every episode I just feel better and better, but this episode right here kind of touched me a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because having 2 strong women in my presence to fight that, and I said it earlier, to fight adversity like that, it just gives me more hope. You know what I'm saying? And to see what y'all is doing right now, building this TV show, building y'all life back, and just going forward, especially keeping God at the forefront. I just see, so much greatness in y'all. And I appreciate y'all again for, spending time with me on my 100th episode. Like I said, this was a very special.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to y'all on, much success to y'all. Where can they find y'all at finally before we get out of here?
So follow, of course, the Felony Girls on all platforms, and then my personal page is starstruck_17 on Instagram, and Star Austin on Facebook.
Okay.
And I am Dominica Sade on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Okay. And of course, I am Calvin with the Stab Lab Network. You can follow me all over the YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all of that good stuff. But we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Stay tuned to the next episode of the Stab Lab Podcast. Peace.